Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Strategy Saturday. We're picking up right where we left off in Suzerain, and I did a little bit of research. I didn't look into like the story or anything, but I looked to see how long this game is, and when I googled it, it said it's about 9 hours on your first playthrough, and we're what 5 episodes in or something, so we're almost halfway through. If I do about 30 minutes each, that's 18 episodes, give or take. We'll see. I think, let's see, if there's 9 hours and each thing is, yeah, it should be 18, right? I'm not mathing. My math is not mathing today, but hopefully y'all enjoyed. Let's hop right in just so we can plow right through. If you guys want me to stop this, just let me know. I will stop this, or we will end it where I think is a good way to end it, because I mean, I don't know how long this, if it is 18 episodes, if you guys don't want to watch that, I completely understand. I will pick something up. There's a couple other strategy games that I have that I was considering starting, but I'm still plowing through this. And yeah, it's fast and easy. Let's go. Oh, right. The economic relief was going on, and then we had the shooting, and we read the report. Kaiser, the leader, has demanded an emergency to be called to address the increasing physical violence. He said that without the declaration of Scotland would be destabilized integrity. Can I call an emergency? With the assistance of the National Business Council and the Central Bank, put forward a country-wide relief plan to mitigate the. We can either provide stimulus checks for people in need, or bail out businesses under serious, or decide not to approve the plan. You know what? I'm gonna be controversial. I was just like, let's try some. Construction begins. Good. In addition, tariffs will provide design all civil structure, blah blah blah. Employment, falling for populism, an idea that can people, people will be able to pay their rent in a few months, and then they will fall into this. No, the new one has accomplished a great feat by providing stimulus checks to help people in need. These started going out as soon as the act was approved by the president himself, and all eligible people in the lower income brackets received nearly 4 months of average salary on a single day. This was such a powerful political move that resonated very well with the populace. Praise would, praise due, and when people were in dire need of help and the suffer, the president came to the thanks to this action. Many who are economically insecure have just received a second chance. I think that was a good idea. The more we can give the people, the better. Is it going to necessarily help in the long run? I don't know. We will see. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the butt, but I mean, hey, if I can boost my people's monies. Funeral. The death, shocked state funeral has been organized. The question. Yeah, I mean, that's rude not to attend the funeral. Dark clouds were looming over the air. They looked daunting as our convoy started approaching the century-old cemetery. It looked like it was going to rain, certainly fitting the weather for a funeral. As expected, Bernard Circa's passing attained its media traction in all of Swordland while I was paying attention to the ceremony, especially to what I would say in my speech today. Oh shit, I have a speech. So we have arrived. Raindrops were running down the car window when Serge opened my door and held an umbrella over my head. As soon as I got out, flashes of the camera blinded me. That's okay. As you wish. He handed me the umbrella and started waiting next to the car with his own. Peter and Carl exited from their own cars in the convoy. They made their way over to me. Atten, Mr. President, I just want to inform you that the perimeter is clear and secured completely. There is no one getting in or out without our knowledge. Thank you. Good work. Thank you, Carl. Bed is good. If anything happens to Atten, you'll have to answer to the First Lady. And trust me, Carl, you don't. Yeah, that's the scary part. Peter let out a laugh which drew some attention from bereaved attendees. I don't think any of us want that, indeed. It started to rain. Several unintelligible voices were heard from Carl's radio. He stepped out to reply and returned shortly. We have a small problem, sir. A few, 5 to be exact, Bird Youth members are here to attend. They apparently said they wish to pay their respect. Should we let them in? Let them in, but put a few guards on them to be safe, as you can. Let's head over. They're about to start. We walked toward. The way that I look at it is, if anyone wants to attend a funeral, by all means, please do. But I'm not going to be stupid and just let them, attend without any anything to make sure that they're not going to cause a ruckus. We walked towards a crowd circling the grave. Everyone in attendance was wearing black in mourning. The rain started pouring heavily. Bernard's window and daughter were in the front row, staring at the coffin with a mixture of disbelief, confusion, above all, a cold, unforgiving sadness. Both our eyes were very red and swollen from weeping. Before taking my place to observe the cemetery, I gave my condolences to Bernard's wife and his daughter, who looked at me. She reminded me of Dina. When the religious ceremony was done, I was invited by the priest to deliver my speech. I took the podium. I felt like I had a lump in my throat. I couldn't get the daughter's eyes out of my head. Today, we are mourning Bernard Circus, a father, a husband, and a loyal servant of this country. Towards the back of the round, I spotted the members of the Red Youth wearing red shirts and black bands of mourning on their arms. They seemed ruly and were respectfully bowing their heads. There was complete silence except for the sound of the raindrops. Let's see. This is a great loss for all of us. I will confess that I disagreed with him almost entirely. Regardless of its decision, he was a true comrade and he fought for what he believed in, his ideal, in every step of his life. I don't want to say that. This is a great loss for all of us, for our country. Circus had a dream of a united Switzerland. In these next months, we will need to fulfill his dreams and band together. Let us all mourn the passing of Bernard Circus and remember him well. I would now like to recite one of the poems he left us. Let's see. Our only strength is the will to survive, knowing that we rise toward the sun. Those who died fighting. They are now buried in the sun. No need to mourn. There is a raid to the sun. A moment of silence, please. During the silence, all that was heard was the ravens. Some attending started clapping, some crying. A coffin was lowered to the grave by the gravekeepers. After a couple of minutes, Bernard Circus was with the soil no more. As I stepped down, it was time to leave. The widow thanked me with a soft and defeated voice before we dispersed. On my way back to the car, I still couldn't get the eyes of Bernard's daughter, nor the faltering voice of his wife out of my head. Would Dina, Monica, and Frank look the same way if something happened to me? Peter put his hand on my shoulder. That was a good speech. I sense only respect from his voice. Thank you. I mean it. I know you do. Come on, it's time to go. We've got work to do. He was right. We had work to do, so much more to do. I realized that the rain had stopped and I looked up. The black clouds slowly dispersed and sunbeams enlightening our surrounding. As someone once said, even the darkest night will end and the sun will rise. Hope was still on the horizon. I don't know why I got emotional there. Good Lord. I started crying. As you could probably tell in my voice. That was... Those who died fighting. Huge crowd of mourners, including President Rain and other senior sorters, joined under a rare display of unity, poured into the heart of Dare today to bid farewell to Bernard Circus, the poem and politician who was shot and killed at the gates of the Maroon Palace after Rain's inauguration ball. With hundreds of police officers in riot gear on duty and traffic barred on major thoroughfares, the normally chaotic section of the city took a somber atmosphere. Melanivist anthems, good Lord, played from the loudspeakers along Freedom Avenue as Sorter citizens gave a unifying message to all the Shoreline by attending the funeral. He paid his respects to Circus and met with his close relatives. Frank also made an emotional speech that touched thousands of attendees. He finished his speech with a quote from Circus: "We rise towards the sun. Those who died fighting. They are now buried in the sun. No need to mourn. There is a raid to the sun." President stands together with Red Youth. Drew, why? Oh, to a no member of Red Youth. Look. I get that. I don't want. The way that I look at it is, regardless if you agree with their politics, if someone gets killed, you attend their funeral. That's just, the standard. That would, I don't understand why that would be considered bad. You may not exactly agree with them, which, I mean, according to one of the things I could have said, I didn't on like most things, but like, it's respect. The Blue Mansion in La Chivin hosted us for an important diplomacy gathering. The door opened and David Whiskey, once a lecturer to me, now the Minister of Foreign Affairs, gently made his way towards my desk. May I sit down, Mr. President? Leave the formalities aside. Please take a seat. Oh, all right. I'm used to titles, diplomacy. Oh, sorry, didn't mean to punch the microphone. Jobs trains oneself. He slowly sat down, taking care to not to aggravate the arthritis in his knees. He's always had an air of gravitas around him, and old age has only served to deepen that. After he settled himself, he regarded me with delight, his blue eyes sparkling. Look at you, Atten, the 4th president of Sorland. What a privilege for me. I still remember the first day you took my classes at Whole Sword State University. Somehow the inexplicable ebb and flow of life has led us here to positions where we can change the course of history. This is our opportunity to shape the future, and we will do that. I'm looking forward to our new foreign policy. I'm looking forward to present you the latest bill I am working on. The TCPA has turned out to be the initiative that can significantly boost our tourism and culture industry. This untapped value would help us internationally to promote our position, and convinced it can also help improve our economic condition after discussions with Minister Hole and Manager. The GNA and the USP are supportive too. I really shouldn't have done overtime hours to get it done, but I really care for the position and value of our. He started coughing this time for longer. Would you like some tea or water? Like, oh yes, please, tea. Thank you. He smiled. 2 cups of tea along with a glass of water and place them on the table. It seems you still remember how much I like tea. Nowadays, it really does wonders for my throat. How's your health? Oh, I haven't had any except the usual after the heart attack. Oh no, aren't a hindrance, of course. How's Monica is really taking to this first lady vote. As time passes, I realize that more family is the most important thing. We must take care of them. The door opened. Isif and Lucien joined us for the briefing as the tall case clock hit the hour mark. Peter, however, was missing. I wonder if he was late from all the drinking he did to the party. We'll talk more later, President. Welcome. How was your travel? A little bumpy due to some turbulence. I arrived via military cargo plane that landed at International. Got it. I took the train. It was a little slow, but I can recommend it for a beautiful landscape. I also had a possibility to work on a couple things during the ride. Well then, since Mr. Vector doesn't seem to be coming today, I think we are ready to start. I will start by providing a brief overview of our current status with the neighbors. Where would you like to start? I'd like to hear about Agnolia. Our brotherly nation to the northeast, they are still diplomatic and online, and probably has one of the most democratic systems between our neighbors. Ooh, economic stagnation is a worry for them. Their primary issue is their heavy reliance on foreign investment from us. It is our most friendly neighbor. We have been allies for the longest time after Rumburg annexed Dome. This fact needs to be part of the equation. Unsurprisingly, the Agnolian Prime Minister Martin Van Horten is expecting better cooperation through a new fair trade deal with us. It was one of his election mandates. A more comprehensive trade deal sounds beneficial to all sides. Both sides could gain from it, but Angola has more to win than us. They want to protect their weaker industries, which we are profiting from selling our goods to. Additionally, the latest numbers indicate that currently 1 million Anglo-Saxon citizens live in Swordland, which creates a link between foreign policy and our internal affairs. These people have suffered social-economically, which led them to crime and other problems. In addition, a relaxed immigration policy was one of which is on most of the immigrants in our country haven't even assimilated into the sort anymore. Won't help. I'm skeptical. You should be. We've already witnessed several societies shifting ways of migration. We should remember that we promised to tighten our immigration laws in the election campaign. I want to know more about our boy to the across the ocean. See, you'll note is the Socialist Republic aligned with the United Contana. They are an important regional player. It is also the most significant sea power in almost all of Mercopia. It is the only country that can rival the superpowers with their navy. We had hostile relationship with them after civil wars, which we wouldn't want to experience. Recently, the relationship has warmed up thanks to Emek Hegel. As a result, they can be conducted in the future. uh, breaking the ice. Agree with the potential. The situation in the region necessitates that we find allies. They haven't been in good standing with us for the past 200 years. Recently, they also joined the Communist Contanian Security Pact, subjugating themselves to United Kantana. On top of that, territorial issues has been flaring up between Angola because of the Hejin Island. The Swedish Navy is very concerned with this violet toll. Unfortunately, billions of Swedish rand worth of cargo is transported close to maritime borders on the Marken Sea and the Grey Strait, and this causes significant risks to our import and export in the case of deterioration in relations. That is a high strategic value for us. The Navy is keeping an eye on the situation from a distance, right? We are actively monitoring the sea routes and cargo ships. For now, there is no immediate threat, but we don't know what can happen in the future. What's the latest situation in Wellen? Homeless in the south is expanding the powers among the protests from the people. However, he is quite positive about normalization between our countries. Let's see here. Despite purging, the communist reports indicate that they have been warming up to containing international aid. As you know, when stability was always a concern for the region. But if we want to help them, we must not treat refugees like we did in the 30s. I still can't stomach the inhumanity those people suffered. A trade agreement, mutual. There would be many bargaining chips discussed, but Wayhan could be a new partner that we also invest in stability. Our main goal should be to avoid refugee crisis like the 20s. That civil war had major security and economic. One of the demands was to tighten our immigration laws so that political refugees don't escape. There has been a recent purge pushed by many bullish to flee Berja. It is definitely troubling. Government outposts have regained its importance due to this. I'm sure you would remember that winter at the border outpost, Mr. President. He was right. I did remember that winter. I remembered how cold it was when I let the refugees slip through. I was discharged of my duties as a result by Major Esif, no less, spending the rest of my service cleaning toilets and sleeping in a cell. In fact, there had been a similar refugee situation in the past. Even Mr. President himself chose to disobey direct orders from his commanding officer at the time. I did what was right. Soldiers do not decide on what is right. Soldiers do what they are told to. He opens his mouth to continue, but David cut in. Our focus should be on current matters. The bullish minority is very large inside Wen too, which is a factor to consider. It is our national interest to prevent the formation of a failed state on our western border. Woolen has been increasingly aligning itself towards communist allies. Another point to analyze. Let's move on. Two important neighboring Lespa and Rumburg. What's Rumburg? I like Rumburg. Now it's the most Rumburg, a constitutional monarch led by Queen Beatrice Livingston. Oh, I highly advise caution and calculated action against our military must be prepared. The threat is real. They are strong and have the motivation as well as means to damage us. We shouldn't give them any reason to pursue aggression. I'll take your advice. These types of nations will always try to make a caucus belli a reason for. Oh, caucus belli. I know that word. That's from Civ 6. I could play Civ 6. I'm not a big fan of it though. While Thornburg openly denies such claim, their past and current actions make it clear they want to destabilize us. The weapon caches found by our IA that clearly shows that what their goals are. Our military must be steadfast and look stern and full resolved. I think we are always in dialogue with our Rumburg ambassador to make sure a channel is open. We could use their aggressive attitude against them by convincing the international community. Lucan grabbed the time and put his finger on an article about the latest their abrupt announcement about the closer is yet another step in their escalation. What about Lespa? Our southern neighbor is aligning itself more and more with Arcasia. Lespa, currently the Prime Minister Patricio. They're the jewel of the continent, the second largest economy. The wealthy suffers from excessive income. Our past relations have been great, but during the last decade, their investments dwindled due to our instability. It could be, but also mean that we would draw closer to a block near the treaty organization. I'm certain that recession has a lot to do with their retraction of it. Once they see that money isn't the picture, they'll vanish rather quickly because they aren't capitalists. I have shown a selfish attitude during the Civil War by closing borders and falling across into To value. I completely agree. Lespa has for a long time benefited from us through our old tariffs. They are after exploitation. There are hundreds of very privileged oligarchs who invest inside and outside. Some made significant business in the cities of Valhen. These covers the overview. We will move on to our response. The sun began to set over the hills. The team was ready to get advice. Yep. Peter arrived late. He looked a little rougher than usual. It must have been the drinking last night. Hey there, folks. Excuse my delay, and I'm sure I didn't miss anything we didn't know. You were still supposed to be part of the meeting an hour ago. Punctuality is important. We're talking about serious subjects here. Peter was assigned a task for me. That's why. So let's move on. Yeah. Expect a report on your desk tomorrow. The vice president will be part of the trade, so it will be great to have his input on the subject as well as the Rumberg incident. Rumberg consul Sir Brian announced the closure of a 120-year-old consulate. Now their diplomatic staff is leading the city to go back to Thornburg. He blamed the lack of security in Soylent due to the assassination and the subsequent protests, but it's obvious they're making excuses. Bastards. First they close their consulate and then they blame our security. The security station is under control. They're playing with us. Isn't it telling that other countries are working with us while Rumberg is cutting more ties with us? The neglect of President Alfonso and the chaos of election delayed our diplomatic efforts. Now there are only 2 Rumberg missions left in Soylent. One in the consulate in Dare, another in the embassy of Holsword. We are accustomed to usual rhetoric, but this is far more serious. They are playing with fire. Look at what the Wellhand civilization has done to the region. Soylent breaking apart would tear Makopa apart. In my entire career, I've never seen our Rumberg relationship suffer. This previous low point was the annexation of Dome. He barely kept himself from slamming the desk. There are worrying developments like the small our military must be buffed up to stand against. We are either respond to the aggressive act with a diplomatic connotation or retaliate by closing our consulate in Dome. I want to say that it would be risky this early in our president. We should focus on creating a negative image. It must be protected. I say we respond equally. Write an official condemning this. Declare the wrong news. I don't want. Let's not push anything into war, please. I don't know what. Here's something that I don't understand. Maybe it's because this game is you have to pick A or B, but personally, I would say we should write an official act, as I said here, and then I would talk to my military and be like, okay, how can we improve the military? Because we need to make sure, just in case that this fails. I would do both, because I mean, you can do both. We as a the United States have done both, where we diplomatically have denounced people and then made sure our military was good. I don't know why we can't do both. I do wish I shall begin working with immediately. Swaying the international is key to long-term strategy. I wish we had reacted more strongly. If we don't control. I, on the other hand, am glad that we're taking the more cautious. There are 3 trade topics. Which topics we should talk about? Trade, yay! Our primary goal would be to sign at least one of these trade agreements. Well, we have 2 options: starting new negotiations with the old in the northwest and forming new cooperation with Wilhan. How about this one? Didn't we first? The reason behind this is more diplomatic, although of course we can't figure out that is old ally, a valuable trade partner. At the point we're around the steel trade that we buy their steel for a higher price. That's because they think the deal is far too imbalanced. Privileged access to our agricultural market. We've returned their offer in a full alliance against Rumberg. Looking at the current advances, there will be mainly the issues around take one way or the other, and entering military will make them furious. I want to state my support to stick to our old ally, even though I disagree with their demand to relax. We have cooperated with them. There's obviously subjects that would still need to tackle, like our economies, like trade goods. What the new premise trying to improve the down, we would need to make concessions a reality of any trade deal. I'd be open to creating a new agreement if we decided this is a good option. Another point is that they're very different. After the recent elections, PM arranged a fair deal with us. Is also an avid supporter of Iraq. Since we said he might be starting the highway construction plays a part too. Regardless, if we're going to increase our regional to previous levels, we might make amends. Ultimately, what about the Wellhand? Dealing with fractured country has its positive, although it's lucrative. Proposed co-investment projects and no tech. However, it's still possible there. Think about the consequences. Don't spread the maintain influence could be. Yes, we would gain resources. I personally, it's too risky. We should go forward with the deal. With known isolate. I promise the Titan Armor will increase the life of the deal. He believes our porters. Personally don't like the. No, I agree. Look, when we have 3 people agree, especially the military guy, since we do not promise to align with neither east or west, it's very likely more around the deal is our neutrality strategy might ease tensions with Rome, since the primary concern is strengthening the superpower bloc. Last handful of monarchs in Makopa are reactive against the influence of Arcadian capitalism in. I'm never going to try to pronounce that word again. We also need to consider the effects of our doctrine. The fact that we head toward the market economy will have influence. Good negotiators optimize their interests, which makes the difference become trivial. Very true. We have a lot of time to prepare before the. I believe that could. Our trade delegation will begin work towards the end of the year. We expect final signing to happen next year. For Southport, well, sort of party animals. Peter laughed near his closed eyes and stared at him. I'd like to know more about Riza. The nation south of Lesba is a centralized constitutional monarchy led by King Romus Taurus. What a name! The grandson of Queen Liza Taurus the Great and son of King Valier Taurus the Frail. The kingdom is a developed nation that wielded considerable influence in southern. The country has lost due to international strife. The Alfonso agreement signed vital trade agreements with them, benefit both nations. Attempts at further cooperation stalled due to the king's blood ties to Rumburg. How do they get along with there's some tension. It appears that since Lesba's attempted into ATO in 50, most of the south has been heading towards the boiling point. Let us avoid that one. Struggles with BFF and an organization that we've long suspected to be armed by King Roman's in-laws in Rumburg. Rita, while is more complex, they are closely aligned under until Rumburg entered the play. That one, yes. One way to put it. The rest of the room wasn't feeling it. Dung business. Knocked on the table. We should be more concerned with Peter worked into. Actually, a friend of Gus called Rusty gifted me this beautiful piece of full resilient gold coin. They say it helps you find love. Look, pulled out an ornamental coin and put it on the table. It was so polished that it cut the reflection of light in the room. Lucian was clearly frustrated. I took and looked at the detail. At the center was a fierce but bull standing in the shield. Blah blah blah. Alright. What is our? It's Resilient Royal Gold, the company that mines the process. Let's discuss the potential. From what we gather, there's no clear offer yet. The interest clearly is more control over the gas products than sold. I suspect this must be related to the recent tensions on the coast of Pales. Mr. Manger is working on the details to get more concrete headline terms soon. Of particular interest are the gas fields in Narbel area of the Nargis region. This must relate to Gasum. Gus has ties with the people around the corporation, even though there's another CEO. Edward Alfonso is still chairman. Gasum is private corp. Fact that limits our control over any foreign investment. Soil and protector specifically limits purchase. Just the law in 48 increased it up to 20%. Anything above that requires us to change the Protection Act. Now it holds most of the. Let's see. Good thing we handled the transfer of power within the party. I'm sure he'll be more open to talk. So many people on the party approached me and praised our. Of course, they thought the USP was fractured enough that don't need further tension. I wouldn't be surprised if Alfonso would be willing to concede more due to this fact. I would still be worried of his and Mr. Manger's intentions. Diplomacy is the way 99% of the time. Pulled out a pen and took a few notes. David coughed a bit and then continued talking. From our diplomatic channels, we can also tell that Lesba is still very interested in petrol, whereas Rumberg wants more gas. As a silver nation, we must protect our energy independence as part of our national security concern and most of our gas production. Oh. Allowing more market economics to determine the value of output. Let's protect our independence. It's private, even though it's mostly supplies. We have Frieza wants to buy more than 20%. Then the government can step in and make changes precisely, but we don't know if this will be the case. They never revealed much about their involvement, but I always had the feeling that Alfonso's crew was more linked against them than they seemed. I have information is that replaced Alfonso as a loyalist. Still the chairman of Gaysum and the de facto key figure. Additionally, blah blah blah. Shareholder link raises questions. I suspect the corporation isn't doing so well. Any further comments esteemed the establishment of the room went silent. No one stepped forward. It was noticeable how much people respected we see. He carried the soul of Sorland as a symbol of the past. I think this summarizes all we know and what we stand to gain. What are your thoughts? I want to wait and see if there's one thing. It's making deals. I'm curious how it will develop. It's mostly all the hands of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for now. I'll assist in analyzing political implications. Thank you. Our support staff and I will be working towards the next step soon after we receive more context. Our ambassador, blah blah blah. The Resilient is already. Well, that concludes the meeting. Thank you all for coming. I will take my leave, sir. The meeting concluded and the team's our diplomatic action officially began. Wow. Okay. We definitely did a lot that time. 11 news. That's a lot. Assignment Republic of Agnolia and assignment Republic of Wellhand. All right. What we do? How we looking? In Esther, the Communist Party have begun protests against Gaysum. The protests aimed at voicing concern over Gaysum activities has drawn significant attention, have united their forces into the intensity of the protests. The reaction of Jarbel is being closely watched. Green Bill. The Grand National Assembly is preparing the Green Bill with a focus on promoting sustainable industry practices, particularly Section 1 that proposes stricter regulations on industrial pollution. This suggests hefty fines for non-compliance with the collected revenue to be reinvested in environmental recovery projects. Picket line. Set up a picket line. The two organizations after receiving moving to Gaysum HQ in the city are actively expressing the situation. A detailed young swordsman, Avery claimed he has a connection to we have been investigating the truth of his claims, but we were not able to find any further that this should be case, blah blah blah. Repeal proposal of why? Or proposal from French Richer, blah blah blah, and supported by the independent was put forth to repeal the energy. This act, as it currently stands, restricts foreign own. Oh, there it is. Has been arguing for an open market approach, promoting for the protection critical for if repeal is several kind of requests. It will head to the. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that yet. Blah blah blah. All right. That is taking forever. Let's see. How can I move? There it is. What is this? Tourism briefing room. Okay. Let's look at the news. We'll criticize workers' rights bill. National Front raising voices currently in its targets bills. It's in the same rights as migrant or it's that one. All right. Energy Protection Act repeal process begins. Troubling news are coming from the mayor who before the state of chaos exists and called emergency directive authorizing him to use his security powers. We are reporting 2 police. Oh God! In the state of emergency, the local Germany began. Yes, okay. And then a beacon of charity to blah. Calling for an open market. I'm just if you want to read all of this, I kind of just skimmed through it. If you want to read it, pause it. Just the skilled foreign worker of demand unrest continues. Welfare issues of Narble. Shepherd living there. Blah blah blah. Did not disclose. Illinois has been shocking remarks about that. He waited almost 5 months just to get in the role. He also did living his children have to use dangerous mountain paths to walk to school. Okay, we need democracy. Well, we're working on it. And then energy tension escalates and Torlik condemns closure. Okay. I think that is a good-ish place to stop for now, and we'll pick up right where we left off. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you all enjoyed, and if you guys want me to stop playing this game because it's boring or you don't like the choices, that's just let me know. And I will catch you in the next episode. Take care. Have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.